think like everybody else, I was shocked to the core by the video, which I thought was AI initially, and then obviously subsequently finding out that Charlie Kirk had been assassinated. Still digesting it, really. Seeing lots of commentary from lots of different aspects. Some of it quite apt, and a lot of people sharing his message and saying, how fondly they enjoyed listening to him, even if they didn't always agree with him, how they enjoyed listening to, some of his debates, discussions. But then, to shoot a man like a dog in front of a university, crowd when his wife and children are there is, for me, a sad indicament of kind of where we are in society, that, if you can't discuss and debate and beat somebody in the town square of ideas and discussion, then you have to eradicate them. But again, I think it speaks volumes for those people rather than for Charlie Kirk. I think he was brave enough to, take his opinion into hostile environments and brave enough to have those opinions challenged and let the world see it. And also, I think he was brave enough to understand that his life was going to be at risk for taking on some of the topics he is. And, you kill a man, but you don't kill his message. In essence, they've amplified his message tenfold. And, I think, for me, it was the equivalent, I would imagine, of being in the civil rights movement in America in, the 50s, 60s, 70s, and watching, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, etc., JFK be assassinated. I would imagine it was, you've obviously had a generation and a generation before that traumatized by the effects of wars, global wars, but, the swinging 60s and Vietnam War and everything that the States went through. Obviously a huge, political climate, Muhammad Ali obviously being incarcerated because he didn't support, the state. Obviously some of the big political assassinations of the Kennedy brothers, Robert and John, obviously civil rights leaders in Martin Luther King and obviously Malcolm X, etc. And for me, it was kind of thought that we'd progressed and we'd moved beyond that. We could, we could have opposing ideas and we didn't have to go into, fascists. If you don't agree with somebody, then you eradicate them, you exterminate them, and this is a problem that has been entirely caused by people not wanting to debate and discuss, calling other people Nazis, very, very quick to polarize and bastardize the other side of the argument. And, if we continue down this path, then I'm not really sure how we progress. Because if you can't discuss and debate and you can't share ideas freely and have them challenged for fear of being shot dead like a dog, then what are we really doing here?
We spoke about it a little bit last week, didn't we? That was the black girl that we spoke about when I sent the video into the group, and she goes around trying to debate, and they just kind of scream over it. They just don't let her talk. They had to grab a camera off her. She's really good, by the way.
Is this based in bougie girl, is it?
I can't remember who it was.
I don't know.
I sent it to you last week.
Candace Owens?
Not Candace Owens. And she was trying to like hold a debate with the pro-Palestine group, and they were all white middle class, stood there waving flags. And she was trying to say, well, where's all, where's what you're defending? For a group of people who were not even here, stood next to you. So what's that say about you? And they were just screaming. There was a girl with obviously purple hair, obviously, screaming over her, wouldn't let her speak, wouldn't let her talk. So they are left-wing loonies who their ideology is, it's going as far as, we've seen Trump nearly get shot. So when they can't debate yet and they're getting facts brought to them about X, Y, and Z, they're screaming over you, they're ragging your cameras off you, they're not letting you get a debate across. And Charlie Kirk said something what was quite really, really good, it hit home to me, is when we stop talking, that's when wars happen.
Violence starts.
Violence starts. He said, and like even at home, when you stop talking to your wife, you get divorced. He said, so you've got to carry on talking. He said, so if you try and stop, if either side, either the far right or the far left, if you stop them talking and stop the debates happening, violence starts, and that's exactly what we've seen. They wanted them to stop talking and kill them with violence.
Well, yeah, look, and I did think it was a bit disingenuous of Keir Starmer and, you know, some of the comments from David Lammy have been, you know, strange to say the least, but Starmer coming out and then, you know, this is the reason freedom of speech is so important. This is the reason that the Online Safety Act and all that is so draconian, because we have to be able to voice anger, opinion,
facts,
reality.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be able to find a way of discussing this. When you're seeing people at Speaker's Corner be arrested under, you know, some type of phobia that you're like, what's going on here? If Speaker's Corner isn't a place where you can fucking discuss and debate, like what's going, like, so you're going to drive the kind of extreme sides of both ends of the argument. Look, what is going on in Gaza is terrible. All right, but you can have also what Israel is doing is self-defense in some form or fashion because of what happened. You can hold both things at the same time. You don't have to only agree with one party. You can think both things are wrong. You can say both of that's bad.
You can, yeah.
The fact that there's a hostile nation trying to eradicate the only Jewish state on the planet is bad. The fact that the only Jewish state on the planet is doing what it's doing to a civilian population is bad.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to, like,
pick a side.
Yeah, the fact that Charlie Kirk got shot dead is bad, and that a wife and two kids have had to see the father who's trying to help people.
Yeah,
who's, you know, whether you agree with what he says or not, he's trying to help people converse or certainly spark and discussion. Shot like a dog on the internet, so live on the fucking telly, is bad. Now, when you're seeing people rejoice and go, well, you know, karma, and you're seeing school teachers who, you're going, this is not a problem that we're going to be able to solve, because in their world, or certainly the way I'm seeing it at the moment, it is, if you don't agree with us, we're going to kill you and we're going to rejoice in it. And like, so for instance, you know, Tommy Robinson gets shot tomorrow. There'll be people who are buzzing and go, he deserved that. Andrew Tate gets shot tomorrow, he deserves that. Piers Morgan gets shot tomorrow, he deserved that. Like, what kind of civilization are we where, you know, people get killed? We've had David Amos MP killed, slaughtered, he deserved it. Joe Cox MP slaughtered. What kind of fucking civilization are we where if people are assassinated for saying what they believe in or trying to point out reality, then this is a civilization that no longer is functioning correctly. Like, we've got demons amongst us who actually see themselves that way, and if you do not allow them to distort reality, then they are going to resort to the extreme measure, which is to
eradicate.
Yeah, and we've seen this before. This is on the left. This has happened before, and they go, oh, well, you know, that's not how Karl Marx wanted it done. That's not how it was meant to be done. Well, unfortunately, that's the way it has been done, and 50 million fucking Russians have died to try and show that communism and it works, and getting rid of people who have opposing ideas. And we've seen in China probably 100 million people die through, whether it's a famine or whether it's an ethnic cleansing or taking out people who don't agree with you. We've seen it every single time. Socialism, communism has been tried. We've ended up with enormous amounts of bloodshed. So I don't believe that any person's man in the sky should allow you to commit atrocities.
No.
I don't believe following any political ideology should allow you to commit atrocities. But we're living in a world at this moment in time where people who do not want to accept reality, up is up, down is down.
Yeah.
All right, it's that straightforward. if you challenge that narrative, they will shoot you dead like a dog.
Well, it's proven. And they got Trump and they got Charlie Kirk. It's like, as you've said all the main points there, it is horrific. But also we've seen the mask slip on a few sections of society since this. Now, since the Ukrainian girl got slaughtered on the bus, and since Charlie Kirk has been slaughtered in public, we've seen the likes of the Black Lives Matter movement, which, you know, we've seen Premier League teams kneeling since day dot.
I think has everyone not worked out? Like we were obviously all kneeling for George Floyd and fucking all that crap that was going on here. Which, by the way, it was terrible. George Floyd got killed. Whether he's a druggie or whether he's a fucking criminal, or whatever, it's not nice to see anybody's life get exterminated that way. And you know, there is.
But he's no martyr.
There is police brutality in the United States, and obviously, you know, we have seen that in whether it was the Rodney King stuff, or, you know, there is an overzealous kind of way of policing in America. But I think if I was a copper in America, I'd hate to think being a copper anyway, but if I was and I knew you can buy a fucking machine gun in the fucking supermarket, I probably would be heightened aggressive if I was dealing with certain offences and certain demographics. I just would. Especially
with a guy like George Floyd.
Well, you can't get it wrong, because if you get it wrong once, you die. Yeah. That's the end of you. So you have to err on the side of caution, and you have to think, do you know what? I want to believe everyone's got good intentions, but I have to be ready for the one person who's got bad intentions at all times. Yeah, well, it's like with George Floyd, he had a history of armed robbery and stuff, so it's like, is he armed? Potentially. There was a reaction to it, you know, we got statues, everyone was kneeling all around the globe, and there was a global reaction to it, because there was an unjust, a person who shouldn't have died. Yeah. All right. Now, obviously, black people, white people I would imagine all over the world die in police custody. The numbers will be there. There's a lot of people who are campaigning against police, people dying in police custody here in the UK. The reaction to that was what it was, and we went off, and you know, obviously there was Antifa burning down and rioting and looting in America. Obviously, there was a wave of that washed across here with the protesting and so on and so forth. Now we've got to a point where, because of Ukraine and Russia's war, or whatever you want to call it, military exercise, because of Israel and Palestine and what's happening in Gaza, we've now got on the streets of the UK every single weekend in most of the major cities, clashing opposing forces. In the middle of that, we've got our police force who have been politicised. You know, the long march through the institutions, Yuri Bezmenov, we're seeing that. You're seeing that with some of the reactions from people who, you know, for instance, I've seen the Oxford Union's president who's turned up and debated Charlie Kirk a few weeks back, and Charlie Kirk's talking about Britain and the standards. This is a guy who's just been assassinated for his beliefs, spoke really well about what Britain is, and he was obviously... His death was rejoiced by a guy who met him less than 2 or 3 weeks ago, who had the chance to debate him, who actually had the chance to see him live and turned up for that as the chair or the president or whatever, dressed in fucking Ugg slippers and jammies, a pair of kecks on and his pyjamas, and like just where you go, you know, you could have, if he hadn't been assassinated, been talking to a future world leader, somebody who was probably moving in the right direction in the Republican Party, because of the way Turning Point had mobilised the youth vote of America. Certainly, you know, to give a lot of young Americans political awareness to allow them to make their decisions going forward about the governance of their state, and obviously then the governance of their, you know, Senate and country beyond that. Somebody who was doing incredibly progressive things to try and educate the next generation, and also in the midst of that was a rising star in the Republican movement, and without a shadow of a doubt, I would imagine, you know, things tracking forward, would have become a presidential candidate at some form. Going forward, he would have been, possibly, because he had a lot of the values that you need to have, you know, the religious values, family man who you know, was very well read and self-taught. You know, he was probably what a lot of American voters were looking for to lead them into the next, you know, they talk about the next 1,000 years of kind of American, you know, Charlie Kirk was one of them who felt America under Trump was going to lead a 1,000-year, does sound a bit Third Reich. The next civilization. People are saying it's going to be China, and there's going to certainly be a bit of swaying now on the global scale. But obviously, America are the world leaders in many departments, and I don't think the technological revolution they're at the forefront of, as well as the military. I don't think as well as China do and as well as Russia do, I don't think they're ever going to close that gap.
No,
they're so far behind. Silicon Valley and what Apple are doing and what's going on there. Do you think they would put their manufacturing in China? Like, do you think for 1 second they've never thought the Chinese are going to rob our stuff, the Russians are going to rob our stuff, the North Koreans? So when the North Koreans come in and go, "Ooh, can we just have a look around? We're a business," like they did in Ukraine in the nuclear facilities, and they catch the spies. Like, do you think when you're the most paranoid intelligence organisation on the planet, which the CIA must be, obviously the lapdog for me are the CIA and Mossad and Israel, like they do what they work completely in conjunction with each other, as we've just seen from Peter Mandelson. Lord Mandelson has had to resign because of Epstein, and you're like, what did you think was going to happen when you made him Keir Starmer? When you fucking thought about him, did you not know creepy, weird shit was going to be leaked upon you at some point when your boat was taken on water? You've just hit an iceberg with Angela Rayner.
We all knew it was happening. So how did he know?
But is he that stupid? Obviously he is.
I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he is. And the fact that he fucking keeps turning back to Harvard-educated David Lammy, who must have gone to Harvard's cafeteria. It's the only place that fat swat's been. He's a fucking imbecile.
Said males can grow cervix.
Like the Labour government, usually a government unravels near the end of its first term. These haven't even made it out of year one. I was talking to someone about it yesterday. So if you've signed a manager on a 4-year deal, you go, fucking hell, can't fucking afford to sack him 4-year deal. And in year one, he's already had to rechange the team. He's already rechanging all the staff in the background. He's going, right, the physio can't be the physio. We're going to make him assistant manager. We're going to take the tea lady. We're going to make her head of performance. We're going to, like, that's basically what he's doing with his cabinet. And he's had to sack it. People close to him who he keeps vouching for and says, no, I absolutely trust them. Give me word on them. 2 weeks later, sorry, I've had to slit his throat. He's a disingenuous cunt, or she is. And we've gone. There's about 6 on the cabinet now. This fucking chief one being, who's the fella who's going to speak to the fucking most important ally of ours? Who can we trust to be our number one guy to speak with them?
Epstein's best mate?
Epstein's pal. who even through Epstein being accused of being a paedophile,
still backed him.
Where at least even Prince Andrew fucking had the wherewithal to step a little bit away from him. Mandelson was texting him and sending him,
don't worry mate,
messages.
Don't worry
You're
pal,
still my best pal, don't worry. Even when he was found guilty, and you make him the ambassador to the US. Like, come on.
He's thick.
Like,
come on. He's just thick. That's not enough.
The left has lost its mind. And the fact that he's out there rejoicing in a father being slaughtered, shot dead on the internet, live on the internet in front of his children, because of what he believed, because he doesn't believe that men can be women.
It's not just he doesn't believe men can be women.
That's what they shot him for.
That's basically what they shot him for. It is, yeah.
That's what he's been shot for.
That's his main.
Rejoicing, saying, look what he was talking about.
And now look at him.
As he mentioned that, and he compared transgender shootings in America, which there's lots of them that aren't being reported. There's something wrong with what's going on in American colleges and stuff at the minute, because school shootings at the minute, I don't know where the Charlie Kirk is, we don't know, but there's a lot of rumour that something was found on the bullet case and so on and so forth. And for the fact that they've shot him just after he's uttered a few words, it's almost like they waited for him. And it was the same with Christopher Hitchens, the great Christopher Hitchens, because he smoked fucking 40 cigarettes a day, was sent messages, and he said, you know the worst messages, he was an atheist, he said the worst messages I get are from religious people. But religious people send me messages and send me letters like you've never seen. He said atheists don't, Hindus don't, Sikhs do. Like Sikhs don't. Like there's certain religious groups and that send a message saying the reason you've got throat cancer is because you've been blasphemous, you spoke about this God or this man in the sky. That's why you've got throat cancer. And he's like, no, it's because I've smoked 40 to 60 cigarettes a day since I've been fucking 8 or 9, something like that. But he says that's where they go to. And we've seen it, with whether you, Charlie Kirk's views on abortion, that he believes a child, the minute it's conceived, it's the same rights as. So, that is a very strong opinion. Now,
but that's a very religious opinion.
But debate him on it. Don't shoot him for it.
Yeah, he's very religious.
He's a very religious person.
That's what I'm saying.
I've seen him say that if his own child got
raped.
Like 10 years old, he wouldn't let them abort, which I obviously massively disagree with.
But if you agree with everything someone says, we disagree on loads of stuff, all of us. So we can't agree on everything. No one agrees with everything that Charlie Kirk said. I disagree with a lot of stuff he said, but I also agree on a lot of stuff he said. But you don't shoot him.
But also, we should also be able to talk about it and not fall out and say, I'm not speaking to you again, or I'm actually going to kill you because of that.
Going back to what he said, the minute you stop talking, the minute violence happens.
So this is the thing about it. I don't think, we know right, left, the extremities of it are both mad and both capable of extreme violence, no matter where we look. The rest of us in the middle, the kind of tolerant middle, we're like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? We can't have this. You can't have every single day. We've just seen the black fatigue play out, because I think people have just had enough. You spoke about the Black Lives Matter. I've seen Charleston White's reaction to fucking Charlie Kirk getting killed. Now, he is a comedian, but I go,
that he wasn't being funny there.
Is that really what you meant? Is that really what you meant? Because it's sad that that's the case, but if it is, it is. And
it's because Charlie Kirk spoke.
And again, Irina Zaretska, was stabbed last week, completely innocent. For me, I'm looking at that going, if that was the opposite way round, what would have been the narrative? And also, I'm more shocked that nobody even went to see if she was all right. Nobody even went to help her.
2 people got the phones out and videoed her.
And then the next day you get this happening, and you go, what? There was some people, and I know Whoopi Goldberg and Van fucking Jones or whatever his name is. What's his name? Van Phillips or something.
Van Jones or something. Yeah.
I go NBC or whatever the fuck.
CNN it was.
And I go, wow, what do you mean mental illness?
Yeah.
What are you on about?
He was hurting. Fucking hell no. You got fucking stabbed in the neck.
But again, it does point to, for some people, because of what happened in the Caribbean and the slave trade, nothing's off the table. Now, the problem we've got in the UK is, look, nobody in the UK has owned a cotton fucking plantation. Nobody in the UK has had, sugar plantation where we've flown in, shipped in fucking people of colour to work in our fields. That hasn't happened. If anything, it's the Irish that were probably fucking brought across. That was that for the UK. Now, I'm not saying in the tobacco industry and the Commonwealth and all the colonies and everything that the UK hasn't benefited from its trade. But let's be honest here, every single person who's living in the UK now, none of us can actually talk about anybody who's, you go, yeah, he's actually owned a slave, I remember that, or actually been a slave that's been owned. So shut the fuck up. We've never had an opportunity to have a more homogenous, merit-based society, if we want it. Nobody cares. I was listening to a comedian yesterday who was in Monty Python, talk about coming out as being gay after being in a marriage in the 60s and then having to explain, and then his drinking, drugging and all that. No one's asked whether you come out now and you're gay. No one cares anymore. The world's a very open place. Now, there's got to be some checks and balances. We've got to have some things that we go, we've got to draw the line there. We've got to accept that up's up and down's down. Now, within the midst of that, there's still lots of scope to be yourself and have lots of different thoughts about it. You don't have to agree with everyone on it. But when it comes to people thinking they're a cat and wanting to use a kitty litter, I go, we're now in the realms of a delusion and mental illness here. That is, if we allow people to be deluded, we run the risk, as we've seen, of
reality
getting away from us.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Now, who sets that reality? Is it each other, or is it the state?
That's got to be us.
Well, you would like to think it used to be your fellow people, your community that said, hey, they go and knock on your door. Hey, conker bollocks, settle the fuck down. You keep shitting in the street. You're not a cat. You're a human. Shit in your own back garden or shit in your toilet. Yeah. Stop having a shit in our road. And eventually...
Stop meowing at our Dave.
Shit in the road. You fucking grab him by the head or her by the head. You rub a fucking nose in it. And you go, do that again. Am I going to treat you like a cat or a dog then? If you piss in our road. Now, the community would write that. What you didn't need is to phone somebody. Now, because we've broke down family and we've broke down community and the church is breaking down, society is unraveling. Now, I don't agree with man in the sky. I don't agree with God. But if we haven't got some kind of Christian principles that we underpin this to say you're not going to do X, Y, and Z, then unfortunately we're in the Wild West. And if you open the gates of hell and you allow all the demons, trust me, the demons on the right are as fucking violent and as capable of death as the demons on the left. And if you fucking want that life, if that's the life you want, doesn't bother me. Makes no difference to me. I'm from that life. I grew up in that. I seen people get bad stuff happen to them. So, doesn't bother me. Actually, if you carry on shooting innocent people who would sign a fucking debate and discuss, then you're going to bring down a vengeance upon yourselves of the like you've never seen.
Yeah.
And if you go to fucking war and you turn around and you got someone dressed as a fairy and someone with fucking green hair, then I promise you, you're in big trouble. That is not the line of history that you want to fucking fall on the side of. I promise you that. Now, we've got to get together and have sensible discussions. At this moment in time, the right are the only people, or people considered on the right, are the only people willing to debate and discuss. Where's your big left-wing commentators? Where's your big left-wing I'll challenge any of you, come and debate me on the podcast. If you think I'm right of centre, come and sit down with me. We'll roll, we'll have 2 or 3 hours like Rogan does, no topic off limit, and we'll discuss and debate. We mightn't agree, we possibly won't agree on everything. There's a good chance. But what I'm not going to do is turn around and fucking try and shoot you in the throat because I disagree with you. Now, if we don't start having the extreme left, if that's what you are, or the left-wing voice out there debating and discussing, and they want to keep scurrying in the background and putting cancellations on people or pushing an outrage mob on people, then we're not going to get anywhere, because what we're going to get is what we're getting, which is innocent, honest, God-fearing people losing their lives because people don't agree with their ideas. Sad state of affairs. And I feel for Charlie Kirk. I feel for his family, his wife. I found her name was Erica and them 2 kids.
Yeah,
because
sad.
Any family that loses the father is at a massive disadvantage, and especially when it's a force for good. Even though he might have been misguided on
Charlie
a few
Kirk
things,
spoke about that a lot.
I think he was a force
families
for good.
Fathers.
And for those people who are happy and rejoicing, he's been assassinated.
Fuck yeah.
For every Charlie Kirk video, for every person who maybe thought, that'll be the end of his ideology, I guarantee you've just radicalised millions of young Christian men out there to do the right thing and to stand up for what's right, and to also have an opinion and stand behind that opinion. You haven't achieved what you think it is by driving fear into this community. What you've actually done is you've forced a few of us to look inside and decide, we're gonna have to dig in even harder here. We're gonna have to push this into another gear, because there's no way we can allow fear to creep in and for anybody to think that you're going to silence people from talking about what's reality. So carry into your weekend
positive thoughts,
positivity, love and compassion for those you don't like,
love thy neighbour.
I think about it, like I laugh and I go, some of my enemies, and I go, I know they would rejoice if anything bad happened to me. Even for your enemies, you laugh and you joke and you think, if this happened or that happened, and then when you actually think about it, you go, I wouldn't want that. I'd rather beat you in a debate of ideas where you go, do you know what, you were right there, I was wrong on that. Which, if we go through COVID and we go through lots of the things we're talking about, whether it is men boxing in the Women's Olympics, whether it is, children being mutilated, or even somebody's right to express a very strong opinion, then the last thing you should expect is for people to rejoice when an absolute injustice, a travesty, somebody assassinating a father takes place. You want to have a good look at yourself, and there's no justification for that. Absolutely none. Whether you agreed with the man's opinions or not. It's a disgrace. Long live Charlie Kirk.